And everybody, it's Jack here with Suburban Tactical Nation. Just got a mail call in. You know what time it is. As long as I don't get another item like this, I think we'll be okay. So stick around and we'll get on in it. So a quick recap on the last package we got. I expressed my dislike for this item in the package. I was not happy at all with it. It still was a good overall package because there was a couple of highlights in it aside from this. I got the Rovivon Flashlight, which I keep on my keychain. I love this thing. It's got 600 lumens, I think 3 or 4 different modes. It even has a strobe light on this, which I didn't even know until about a week ago. And that's pretty sweet. 3 clicks and it goes, and you got your different settings. But anyways, great item. Best item in the package. And then they also gave us a compass. This is still a great item, although I won't get much use out of it every day, going anywhere where I need it too often, but it's definitely a great item to keep. And finally, you know, I got this thing, but I decided to use it as just the bottle opener. So I made it a purpose to just open bottles only, just so I can be reminded not to ever buy something like this. Let's move on to the new package, see what's going on. Got the Rovivon Nox here. I love this blade. Let's go ahead and open it up. See what we got here. Okay, so I'm already immediately excited because there is a Kaiser in here. I love Kaiser. Looks like we got some KPL. I'm not going to argue with that. Okay, so I had to stop for a second. Mr. Suburban Hound had to take a break outside, and I'm back. As always, we'll go through each of these individually. We've got a Kaiser knife, got a decent carabiner, a knife pivot lube, we've got a valve stem, and we've got a sticker. Okay, now valve stem, you're probably wondering why the heck is that in there, but we'll get to that. Let's go ahead and start off with the S-Beaner by Night Eyes. If you're not familiar with Night Eyes, they actually make some good stuff. The last package we got, they gave some gear ties, which is basically wire ties with rubber coating around them. These things are excellent. I use them all the time. I have a lot of them. That's why these are still in the package. So you've got this S-shaped beaner, and it looks just like an S. That's why it's called that. And it is a double-gated carabiner with little slide locks. And these things actually hold up really well. It is an aluminum carabiner. Pretty durable. I've got one on my keychain that I've had for literally 5 years at least, and this thing has been through hell and back, and it still holds up strong. You've got a wire gate on here that's still pretty sturdy on its own, but when you slide this down, this little piece of plastic, it fits perfectly right in there, and it keeps your keys basically from sliding off that wire. When I first got this, I thought it would hold up, but I wasn't sure for how long. And you can see, you know, when you got all that movement going in your pocket and stuff, more than likely this thing would probably come off. But with this locked in place, it does the job, and it, you know, it's had some weight on there for a while. Excellent product. Definitely like these, and I do recommend them. So with this, you know, you're not going to put a lot of weight. I don't know what the recommended weight on this is. So many different uses you can get out of this. Excellent item. Moving on to the Colby valve. Now, I don't own a Jeep or off-road vehicle, and that's basically what this is for. It's a good item to have. It's super light. You can throw it in a little, you know, put it in your plastic bag and just throw it in a go bag or whatever. And if you're an outdoorsman or you're going on trips off-road and out in the wilderness a lot, this can come in big time handy. If you have a Jeep or off-road vehicle, this could literally be a lifesaver in a situation where you get a flat. I mean, now these aren't going to fit your car tires because these are, from what I understand, on off-road vehicles, you got the plug that's more sticking out the side. You pull the plug out, pop this in tire wall, and then you tighten this down to where you get the threads out. It's just like a regular valve. And then once you get this all the way down, tightened really tight, then you've got your valve. You put your air in, and then they give you a nice, seems to be aluminum fitted cap, and then you just tighten her down and you're good to go. Now, on here on the instructions, if you look on the other side, well, it tells you your measurement on what it can fit for what type of valve, what type of tire, and tells you 5 minutes or less, 20 times stronger than a typical valve. But on here you have an emergency valve instruction, and then you have a permanent fixture XL instruction. So I don't know enough about off-road vehicles or Jeeps to know if that would be recommended on my part. I would say no. I would probably say get it replaced after you use it for an emergency, just like the same rule of thumb with a flat tire and a spare, you know, like a donut from your car. You don't want to drive on it any more than you have to, just for safety reasons, and yeah, just common sense really. So that's what you're getting with the Colby valve. Definitely a great item. I probably won't get any use for this anytime soon because I am not an off-roader or own a Jeep or anything like that of that nature. So this will go to probably a buddy of mine, or I will just keep it in a pack, stow it away for some kind of adventure someday. So we got KPL, which is knife pivot lube. Great for your bearings and your washers and your pivot systems. Keeps the friction down, and I definitely recommend this stuff. Now I do use some cheaper stuff, which is fishing reel oil, which is a mineral oil from Daiwa. You can find these on Amazon even. I think that's where I picked this one up at. Super cheap option. It works great, especially if you use your knives outside or you use it for food prep and stuff like that. This is a mineral oil that I recommend to use. KPL lube is definitely good stuff. It stretches pretty far. It doesn't take a lot of it. Probably a little more with this stuff, but that KPL stuff gets it done. So this is a Kaiser from the Vanguard series, which is one of my favorite budget knife series out of probably anyone, because Kaiser just does an amazing job on their quality, and they make some really solid user blades that are actually functional and not just made to look different, although they do have some funky shapes here and there, but they are usable and I like them. So I just laid these out real quick to give you an idea of the different shapes and sizes that do come in the Vanguard series, and they're typically under 75 bucks for most of them. These are two larger, mid-size, small. This Doman is the mini Doman, so it's going to fall into a smaller category like so. So we'll push these aside, and I'll let you see. You won't get this out of the package here. And you get your little slip here, just like Civivi. You've got your instructions, information, and then they give you a microfiber cloth inside, typically. There it is right there. So, and they've got their logo on there. Blue G10 on this, N690 steel. This is on thumb studs and washers. Now I've seen the Doman, most of you have probably seen the Doman and the mini Doman, which is this one. So let's do a quick rundown on this blade here. And you've got the Blue G10, blue back spacer, which also works as part of a somewhat of a lanyard. You could probably fit something down in there for a lanyard if you want. Pocket clip, left or right tip up only. Not necessarily a deep carry, but Kaiser's pocket clips are pretty functional and go down in the pocket nicely in and out. And you've got your satin finish pocket clip, stainless steel liners, some shadow boxing on the handles and the scales. Very nice. Nice size thumb studs. Now this is running on washers, so that's why you're not going to get great action right out of the gate. These will probably wear in over time, just like this full-size bed glider here. When I first got this, it was a little stiff, but there's a little shot of oil and some wear in. It does just fine. Broke in just fine. And this is, the Doman is very similar from what I've seen in pictures and stuff, because this is the first time I've had a Doman, and this is the mini, but very similar to the bed glider, very simplistic but very functional. Thumb studs are out of the cutting path of the blade. That's awesome. Pretty standard drop points, super thin slicey action going on. Definitely going to be great users in the field and for EDC, especially with the stainless blades. It does open nicely. It's not going to fly right out like bearings, like I said. Definitely solid. Get pretty much a full purchase on this thing, even though it's a small version of the Doman. So we'll go ahead and just throw it right in here in the middle to give you a better idea, since we got these out. That's where we're looking for the mini Doman. So I'll do a full review on this later on after I get some use out of it, but seems to be very similar to the big lighter. One thing to note about the Vanguard series is lockup is always superb on these. The ergonomics are always nice. The blade shapes are usually fantastic. They come with great grinds on them. Razor sharp out of the box almost always. I've never had one that was not razor sharp. And they're just good hard user knives in a budget line. And the lockup, the blade, there's zero blade play up or down. You know, they're really simplistic, but they're just really good users. They just are. Now this is an older model, so bearings were not in so much as demand as they are now, which you're starting to see more and more on other knives. The action on this still is good, and it locks up fine, and you can flick it out. It's definitely not a fidgety knife. I guess it could be, but you're not going to get that bearing action. Like I said, it's not going to fall shut. Over time it'll break in, but you're never going to get that out of this. So, you know, I'm happy with it though. I think this is a great little knife. I like it so far. I don't need fidget factor in a knife to use it. It's nice to have sometimes, but I will take durability, strength, cutting ability, and more well-rounded abilities out of a knife than just if it's going to fall shut or flick out just to fidget around with. That's not what I'm looking for, and you're not getting charged for that. You know, $55. I challenge you to find a better built knife for $55 than the Vanguard series from Kaiser. I just do. I mean, I know there's a lot of other stuff out there now, and there is good stuff out there. So how does the Going Gear for July package add up in value, and what's my final thoughts on this? We'll go ahead and say this is a good package for the month. I'm going to say this is a win. We've got a total value here of $93.47, and I paid a total of $66.76. I think it's a pretty good package. We've got the Kaiser Mini Doman, which is an excellent EDC. It's got a great stainless steel on it, and it's going to perform. It's a great knife, great company. And we've got the Colby valve for off-road repair, emergency valve stem. You've got KPL, an excellent superior lubricant for folding knives, and just a good lubricant overall for maintenance on your blades. And you've got the Night Eyes carabiner, which is a solid product I've used for years. I think they're great, and you can pick these up pretty much at any hardware store, your local hardware store, Lowe's, Home Depot, wherever. So this is a fantastic package for the month. I'm still happy with these guys. I was a little disappointed, like I said, with this thing last time, but that was not a deal breaker for me because there were still some great items in the package. Again, you get good stuff from Going Gear. So that's going to do it, guys, for the month of July for Going Gear EDC. I'll leave links down below where you can find their website and learn a little bit more about their monthly subscription service. And I'll leave links down below where you can find all the knives you've seen on here today. So if you're interested in checking them out and giving them a shot, I'd say it's definitely worth it to get a couple subscription packages just to see what they do offer. That's going to do it, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.